This is Three Arms from Burning Sky, a brewery in the UK. They are most famous for their farmhouse styles, their blended beers, their barrel aged and blending and mixing, a 6 month old with a 2 years old with some funky yeast and some awesome stuff going on. This is their extra pale ale, so we're not going too crazy in our first little tiptoe into the Burning Sky universe. I'm easing us in, I'm easing myself in. I'm not big on your kind of sour beers or your funky beers, but I do love a saison. I do love a gosa. Bit of fruit forward, but nothing too crazy. So I think that this is a good first beer to kind of get involved in the Burning Sky Brewery universe. I've heard a lot of good things about this brewery, which is why I picked this can up. So this is their extra pale ale. It is brewed with Nelson Sauvin, Citra, Motueka, and Simcoe. So I'm expecting your classic Citra and Mosaic kind of citrus, maybe a tiny bit of pine, bit of tropical juice. I'm expecting from Nelson Sauvin perhaps some gooseberry and Motueka. I'm expecting bit of brightness, a bit of zest going on. So this has the potential to be quite a nice beer. And if they've got some kind of funky yeast in it too, then there could be a kind of left field take on an extra pale ale. So let's see what's going on. It looks really, really light in color. It says that it's brewed with Maris Otter and a hint of Munich malts. They must be some very light Munich malts. So Munich 1, very, very light beer, straw color almost. There was a decent head on it, but it's gone down significantly. Let's give it a smell. Mmm. Yeah, that's really nice. That smells, I want to say gooseberry and a hint of passion fruit. And then a really nice kind of general zestiness. So not leaning in any kind of direction in terms of orange or lemon or lime. It's just a general kind of zesty edge to the aroma. Smells really, really nice, really fresh, really bright. I do love a pale ale that smells like this. Let's see how it tastes. Oh yeah, they are a great brewery. You can tell straight away. So it is a really light, crushable beer. It tastes kind of sessionable. Yeah, 4%. So it's a session pale ale, and you can taste that immediately. But it's not weak or anything. They've balanced it beautifully. So if you're producing a sessionable beer, you need to account for that weaker body in some way, and they've done that really well with the hop flavors. So it is drinking like really, really softly. It's not too sharp, and that contrasts well with the kind of brighter hop flavors going on. So that gooseberry transfers over, that general zesty citrusiness comes over. And let me go back in. Yeah, a bit of passion fruit in there as well. So they really are drawing out those more interesting flavors from those New Zealand hops, Nelson Sauvin and Motueka. That's really presenting in that kind of gooseberry, lychee, almost passion fruity, like hints of passion fruity. And then they've rounded that out and kind of brought it all together with the citrusy edge from Citra and Simcoe. So it's a really great blend of hops. Um, and it's going really well with this uh, much lighter body, but it's still got a decent oomph to it. I imagine it's a couple of points higher in terms of attenuation, maybe. No, scrap that. It's it's fairly dry, but it's not too sharp. They've managed to keep the bitterness at a respectable level. There's a decent carbonic bite, but everything is kind of measured so that this isn't, when you have like a weaker malt body, a low ABV beer, you're in danger of going too big on the bitterness, and too big on that kind of carbonic bite. So you end up getting almost like a fizzy drink tasting thing, or like a champagne. Where you first drink a champagne and it's a bit sharp, it's a bit kind of acidic. You want to avoid that unless you're going for that kind of brute kind of approach. But this is very much a kind of fruity, sessionable pale ale, extra pale ale. So they've handled that really well. So you can tell that this is a really good brewery. They know exactly what they're doing, and this has actually sold me on what I imagine their saison is going to be like, because um, you can just tell that they've got really great control. Oh, nearly dropped it. You can just tell that they've got nearly. You can just tell that they've got really great control of their process and also their recipe design. They know how to balance out a beer. They clearly, you know, thought this through and executed it. So that's why I think that sold me on the brewery. Like I said, I'm not really a funk soury kind of guy, but I do like a saison, and that's only a recent thing because my mate Pascal in Geneva brewed his own saison, gave me a bottle. I had a go on it, and I was like, well, suddenly I'm a saison man, because they're not too sour. It's kind of super refreshing, and that's what I'm getting from this. Uh, this is super refreshing, and it's super measured, and it still gives you great fruity flavors, for a sessionable beer, for a drier beer, a lighter beer. So that tells me that their saison will be absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to try and get my hands on that for sure. Um, yeah, man. Burning Sky, 3 Arms, extra pale, well worth it. Gonna pick up some more Burning Sky, definitely. I like the can design. I like a brewery that kind of stands out with its own kind of vibe going on. You can go down certain routes. Um, I'm looking at their cans and their art and stuff. They do have a distinct kind of artistic flair. It's kind of a little bit revolutionary, and perhaps, in the wake of all that's going on in the world, with a certain list of people, perhaps we do need a revolution. So cheers to the revolution, viva la revolution, and viva Burning Sky, 3 Arms, extra pale ale. Cheers. I'm going to go and watch the football. Enjoy.